Hey there, it's Brian. Let's see what's new in Smart Connect. So, I just shipped an update, so when we log in here, we'll see this update available, downloading the update. And this is version 1.3.11. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from scratch. We're going to try out this new feature that is a way for you to add actions that aren't specifically built into the software. I'm calling these community actions, heavily inspired by Obsidian's community plugins. Okay, let's get logged in here. Okay, so if you're already familiar with Smart Connect, you'll know when you first get started, you have to add an environment. My Obsidian Vault name is Obsidian 1, so I name it the same. I name the smart environment the same as the Obsidian Vault, and the reason for that is compatibility in some of the note-taking specific smart actions. But we can see here we have the settings from my smart environment that was configured in Obsidian are imported, and then now if you go to smart actions, you'll see things look a little different than the last version. We still have the Notes GPT, the Notes version 2 GPT, which I suggest starting to try this this new version 2 of the Notes GPT. I'm not going to demonstrate that right now, but this is the GPT that I'm focusing my energy on. I've been trying to keep up with support of this original GPT that has been basically the same for a year now. I just want to keep that thing stable, but the new, more capable GPT is going to be this Notes version 2. And what we're seeing up here, this is a little bit of a notifications, area. The reason those notifications started popping up is because about a minute after loading Smart Connect, your smart environment gets loaded into the background. So then if you go to use any of these actions that rely on the smart environment, it'll be ready to go, and you won't have to wait for the things to load. But okay, so we see we have the official GPTs here. We have custom GPTs here. You used to only be allowed one custom GPT, and that is what this default custom GPT is. I recommend creating a new GPT and migrating any of your old GPTs to this new custom GPT format. I'm not going to go deep into that right now, but we just created this new custom GPT, and that is important for what comes next, which is community actions. Community actions, this is the new feature. It's something that's been on the to-do list for a long time. It took a lot of things coming together to make this work. Essentially what we're looking at here is, if we click this. Okay, well, that is something I need to fix, but let me just quick bring it up in the browser here. Community actions. Petro, get up. Okay, so what you can see is there's this public repository, and those actions that are in that list are available for you to inspect the code, get inspiration from the code to create your own custom actions, and hopefully soon people will be contributing additional custom actions to provide you with more capabilities from within your smart environment. So I really wanted to create this schedule tweet action, and while I was at it, I was able to throw together a few other actions like list tweets, bookmark tweet, like tweet, and there currently is not an official GPT that leverages these actions, and that's why you have to install them, because the only actions that come pre-installed with Smart Connect are those that are being used by the official GPTs. Similarly, which was already available but pretty much unmentioned, was this custom actions section. You know, in the custom actions sections, you can see no custom actions found, but you can simply click new action, and if you have an action somewhere in your file system, you can select that and upload it very similarly to installing a community action. So let's see what installing a community action looks like. We'll start with list tweets. So I hit the install, and that restart notification comes up because in order for the action to be available, it has to be loaded into the smart environment at the start. So we just restarted, and we can go down to custom actions, and we can see now that custom actions includes this list tweets. Oh look, that button works now. I wonder what that was about. Okay, so in here you can see list tweets installed. The name of the file is xlist, so maybe that could be clarified a bit, but you can see we now have this custom action available. And what do we do with that custom action? Well, we can go to our custom GPT, and right now, if you just created your custom GPT, you can see this here. All actions are currently in use. Add actions to reduce available actions to only those specified. What that means is this is all of the actions that are currently available for you to use in your custom GPT. If you have not selected any, all of those actions become available to this GPT. While that may sound desirable, you probably want to limit the actions to those you are specifically certain that you want to use, so that your prompting and instructions can be there's a lot of just benefits from the user not having to put in too much detail in what you want, because if the GPT is trying to figure out which of these 20 actions to use, you're going to have to be more specific with it than if there's just a single action. So I just selected the list tweets action, and there are now a couple settings up here. There's this default URL. Basically what this is if you say list tweets, by default it's going to list tweets from your home feed. You could give it a URL. You could say list tweets from this Twitter list, and if you give it the URL to that Twitter list, it'll use that to list tweets from that list. And you can also put that list in this setting area, and we can go to my Twitter real quick and hit my lists. And I haven't tested this too much, but it should work with most pages that have tweets on it. So, maybe, potentially on the bookmarks, page, you might be able to put a link there. But so I have this Obsidian PKM ITE list. Let's use that. as my default in Smart Connect. Okay, so now we have to set up the custom GPT. So there's this setup custom GPT section. If you haven't done this before, there's this OpenAPI URL, which is how you tell ChatGPT what actions are available. Now, I just installed this ChatGPT Windows app, so let's see how this works. So let's see, demo Twitter 1, description, interact with Twitter. Let's see, can we hide this thing or remove that? Okay. I'm going to turn off the other capabilities for now, for the same reason I suggested not adding too many actions to your GPT. And I just pasted that OpenAPI URL into this import URL section. And now we have available actions list tweets. There's one more important step, which is authentication type. For now, you're just going to put in API key, default, and bearer. So, just to clarify, if you are missing the API key, you can see down here in the global settings, it is default. Okay, so now we can go back. We have actions. Let's create this GPT. Okay, now we're viewing the GPT inside of the ChatGPT Windows application. Now, before I make a request, there's a couple things I like to do. One is open up the developer console, which you can find down here at the bottom, open console log. This will give us any insights if anything goes wrong. And then I just hit Control R to refresh Smart Connect. That reloads the actions. I just changed some settings and updated the custom GPT. And while I try to make everything update smoothly, oftentimes after you make a bunch of changes, it's best to just do a refresh real quick. It's just as easy as a Control R or Command R. And this way, it'll make sure everything is loaded correctly. This software is very new, and I'm trying to focus on the important features rather than making sure everything is properly updated on every single settings change, which will eventually be addressed. But right now, just hit that Control R. And now back in ChatGPT, let's say list tweets. Okay, so first we have to do always allow. That should only happen once when you start when you create a new custom GPT. Okay, so right now, what you're seeing up in this top right corner is Smart Connect opened up a Twitter page. And let's see what it says here. It says, it seems there was an issue. Okay. So the issue is that we haven't logged in yet. I attempted to make it give a better message when you were not logged in. It may be because we were trying to go directly to a list opposed to another page. But basically, if you have an error with the Twitter actions, make sure you're logged in. So, this window for now will always pop up on top, and it should be pretty obvious if you need to log in. So let's go log in. I need to get my code. Okay, so now we're logged in. Let's shut that window and try this again. I just edited and resubmitted. So now we're talking. You can see we have TFT Hacker. He's a good follow if you aren't following him already and you're interested in Obsidian or any personal knowledge management content. You can see we have this tweet here. What can we do next? Let's go back to Smart Connect and let's add another action. So now let's try the bookmark tweet action. So restart. Now let's go to our custom GPTs. Let's add the bookmark action to our GPT. Let's get our OpenAPI URL and we'll refresh that real quick while we're at it. Okay, and back in the ChatGPT app, we can go back to actions and use that OpenAPI URL to import our new action. So now we have list tweets and bookmark tweet. We can update. And now we're back to our GPT. Let's see what we can do. Instead of using that list, let's say make a report on the best Obsidian tweets about the note-taking app Obsidian, for clarity, based on the last 100 tweets about Obsidian. Okay, so it looks like the way ChatGPT decided to approach this was to make a search for the Obsidian note-taking app. It's taking a little longer this time because if we look at our console logs, you'll see we put a limit of 100, which means it's going to spend a little time searching for more tweets. It looks like it came up with 45 tweets. So that's not quite 100, but it's not too bad either. So now here's a report on some recent noteworthy tweets about the Obsidian note-taking app. So I like use cases and workflows. I always find it interesting how people use Obsidian and these different personal knowledge management tools. So let's say, please bookmark the use cases and workflows tweets. So you can see it's popped up a few different windows for these different requests, and it says added to bookmarks. So if we bring back up Twitter and we go to my bookmarks, we should be able to see that tweet. Kimberly shared her use for organizing resources for a fantasy RPG. And if we look at this, we have Kimberly and that tweet bookmarked. And if we look at the rest, so you have mainly wiki pages, and this person mentions a CRM. CRM tasks from Juan, and we have large research project from Cutter Bear. So let's try something else. And this might not work. Okay, is it going to work? There we go. Okay, so we were currently using the demo Twitter 1 GPT, but let's switch over to the Notes v2 and say create a note in my inbox about the bookmarked once again, we can check out those console logs to see what's happening on the back end. We got this post here. It has some things. Unfortunately, it didn't find my exact inbox folder. I'm still working on making that work a little better, but if we bring up Obsidian here, we'll see that we have a new inbox folder down here, and it contains this bookmarked tweets with links to the tweets, and we can see that tweet is bookmarked. So that was a brief demonstration of the new Smart Connect feature, particularly utilizing these community actions. So let's just do a quick recap. To use community actions, you go into the Smart Actions section. You can expand the community actions section and just click install. And then, for taking things full circle, you will then find these community actions in your custom actions list. And if you are, for whatever reason, done using the action, or you just want to clean things up, you can just remove custom actions like that. Custom GPTs are required to utilize community actions and custom actions. Official GPTs contain actions that are built in already to the Smart Connect app. For a little bit of my thought process behind this, I intend on making sure that the actions for the official GPTs are always working. So I'm going to minimize the amount of official GPTs to just provide, core features, core functionality, and make sure those are reliable. Custom GPTs, they're very useful. You can build your own system prompt for the custom GPTs, and they allow you to select specific actions that you want so that you can exclude things you don't want, so you can create your own custom actions or utilize actions contributed by the community. And lastly, if you want to know more about the custom actions, I'm going to bring up this page. It's currently, not too many. There's currently not too much here, but in this public repository, oops, that's not it. Community actions. In this community actions public repository, I will be adding more details about how to build custom actions, and you can use the existing community actions to understand how these things work. So just real quick, it's as simple as making a single function, a one file, single function. It accepts this parameters argument, and that parameters argument is an object defined by the Open API, which you might remember is what's used to instruct GPT how to use your action and what action is available. So I do think that there's a lot of room for growth as far as these custom and community actions go. I plan on making more myself in the short term. I'm interested in hearing about what sort of custom actions you're interested in. In the in the foreseeable future, I think that the official GPTs will remain pretty limited, so that I can focus on the stability of those actions, and they will be mostly actions like what's already provided, where you can edit notes, create notes, move notes, and you can replace notes with files. Like right now it's pretty focused on Obsidian and Markdown, but just being able to move files around your smart environment, that's the focus of the core actions. And I'm keeping those core because I don't think that there's there's not a lot of benefit in creating like derivatives of these core actions. Like, the action is either effective at editing a file or it's not. There's not a lot of variations in how you can edit the file. So I want to, maintain those and, make those core actions as best as possible. But then when you're talking about performing actions in the browser, like bookmarking a tweet or listing tweets, there's a lot of variations here, because we can replace tweets with LinkedIn posts, Instagram posts, even potentially Gmail inbox management. While I'm not going to go into the technical details too much, it's important to note that the way these browser actions work is by opening a Chromium browser on your desktop. And that's important because a lot of websites want you to be using their website personally. They don't want scrapers or like bad actors just downloading all of their data en masse. So that makes it trickier for interacting with the websites. And recently Twitter basically restricted access to their API, making traditional programmatic routes for interacting with Twitter less accessible. But now, because these actions open up a browser on your desktop, it becomes as easy as using plain vanilla JavaScript to interact with that page. And part of what I'm building into Smart Connect are what you could consider helper functions for completing those scripts. A script would be scheduling a tweet or listing the tweet, and those helper functions are very similar to what you would see in a popular automation library like Puppeteer. Okay, so I think I've shared plenty about custom actions, community actions for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you're able to make this work for you. I'm interested in hearing how you make it work for you. So wherever you want to share that, please do. I always love hearing how people are using the software. And yep, that's it. Thanks for watching.